Hello, my friends. Welcome in and welcome back. Thank you for supporting my channel and sharing your energy with me today. My name is Amanda, and we are going to hop into a collective reading today. We're going to first start out with some channeled messages and then get into the tarot reading portion of the video. If you would like to skip straight to the tarot reading, you can do so by clicking on the timestamp in the description or pinned comment section. So over the last few days, maybe even the last couple of months, to be honest, I've been receiving this message of purge and preparation. I may have mentioned this in one of my previous collective readings, or even some of the pick a card readings. I think that this message has been coming up quite a bit for people in the collective, so I think it was the reason why it came out. So I will just read what came to me today. Purge and preparation is kind of the big headline. This is why nothing new has happened or why change hasn't occurred. Even though we might be working on ourselves, we might be working to change the circumstances, it seems like we're stuck. Embers offer promise but no guarantee. Move with the flow, not force. Work sustainably, listen to your energy. Easy does it. Nothing needs to be completed, shifted, or changed. A slow, gradual transition. Focus instead on what's not needed and replace with what is. So with that, I really got the impression that we're in a moment of purge and protection. Interesting. Purge and preparation, which may be protection from making mistakes in our life, especially if we force things to move in our timing. So with that, I do get a sense of divine timing. I do get a sense of, just things out of our control. And so the only thing that we can really work on and prepare and purge from is ourselves. So really interesting message, and I kind of feel that's happening in the collective, where many people are feeling stuck. Even though they have done some work, they may feel like they've taken some steps back or have reverted to some degree, being tested and feeling like you're in an old timeline. I feel like this is a time where things are being purged, and there is a sense of preparing you for what's next. Because if we are not fully prepared to receive the gifts, the opportunities, then A, we might completely miss them when we find them or when they find us. And B, we might not be ready to receive it. So we might push it away thinking that's not for us. That's not meant to be. And third, if we do accept it and we do discover like, yes, this is what I want, we might not be able to sustain it in a way that keeps it in our lives long term. So we may attain it and then we self-sabotage, or something happens and we just don't know how to manage it, or how to not let certain things affect this thing from leaving our lives or shifting or moving in a way that is undesirable. So there's a reason for this pause, reflection, preparation. And I think a lot of the collective is here right now. So if you are resonating with this and it is aligning and confirming for you, then this message may be for you. If it does not align with you, if it's not confirming for you, then please leave the rest. Please leave it for someone else. So we're going to get an opening energy now that we've gone through a bit of that and my intuitive interpretation of that from Spirit. And now we're going to get into the tarot portion of the reading. Thank you, Spirit, for being here, protecting this reading. Please offer your insights and guidance. We're going to get 2 cards to open the reading. I usually look at the bottom of the deck as well, just to get some underlying energies, although we do have 3 here. Okay, so we have the the Hope. I thought this was the Star card. It looks like the Star card. It's actually the Sun card, which is a very happy, positive, joyful, expressive, confident card. Major Arcana. It is maybe the sun after the darkness. So the first card that came out was Obstacles and Challenges with the number 5. So again, that shifting from one place to the next, and that middle part being a little bit sticky, being a little bit shaking in our faith a little bit, and not really knowing, is this the right way? Is this meant for me? Is this the way that I need to go? Is this what I need to do? Nothing's working. Nothing is changing. I keep coming up against obstacle after obstacle and keep being challenged. That doesn't mean it's not the right way. It just may mean that it's not time for you to get to the other side of that. This also reminds me of Indiana Jones, where he's at I think it's the Temple of Doom. It's been a long time since I've watched that movie, but I believe it's the Temple of Doom, and he gets to the edge of I don't know what it is, a cave. He gets to the edge of the cave, and it's this huge ravine, and it looks like there is no way across the ravine. It's either down or turn around and go back. But I can't remember the specifics of what happens, but he throws sand across the ravine, and it reveals the way forward. And so it's an illusion that there is no continuation of this path. So we have to have unwavering faith in ourselves. We have to have the confidence within ourselves, follow our passion and desire, and even though we might see some setbacks, to continue to come back to that place of, yes, this is the way that I want to go. Now, obviously, there will be some instances where you move towards something and you just can't get it no matter how much you try. There is a point at which you could potentially see a shift in direction, because you're realizing that the juice isn't worth the squeeze. This isn't really working for me. And so maybe that is simply just a redirection, where it doesn't mean that it's not necessarily for you, but the path you've chosen is not the way to get to the highest outcome or have the result that you're looking for. So there's also a sense of redirection, of not necessarily turning back. Although I think for a small percentage of you, that could also be the case as well, where you're coming here to this point and realizing like, yeah, no, it's not for me, I'm good. And you turn back and you choose something else. So I think there's a number of things happening for people, but I do think that there's a lot of obstacles and challenges, and they are there to help affirm your way forward, or it is affirming that, no, this isn't for me and I want to do something else, so I'm going to change directions, or allow the universe to redirect me in a way that maybe works out better than I think it will. So we have fertility, which is expansion energy and also Empress energy. It is I wanted to say a higher power, but a divine power, because it is a major arcana in the traditional tarot. And this is also a major arcana in the traditional tarot. And that is a major arcana. So I feel like some of you might even be distracted right now, or at least taken off your path, because maybe old habits are coming back, exes, old friends, patterns of behavior that haven't been around for maybe 15 or 19 years. There's a significant time lapse, and it feels like I said before, in a previous timeline. And I think that is the obstacle, is what are you going to do in this moment? It's almost like you're coming up against these challenges to see your growth, to see the fertile soil that can have new seeds planted in it. This comes back to self and how you are reacting to specific situations and triggers, people, I already said situations, but this is helping you build your spiritual and soul and foundations within yourself to be able to overcome these challenges and to, I want to say, move the mountain. So we have the Five of Wands, which is this obstacles and challenges card, and then we have the Four of Pentacles, which is this stability, structure, and security. So you are in a moment where you are building that within yourself. There is no relying on anyone else. This is you planting your own seeds for your own garden to nurture, and have patience with that process is also something that I'm hearing. But it's almost like we're taking a step back. 2 steps back, 1 step forward. Interesting, because we go from the 5, we take 2 steps back to the 3, and then we move 1 step forward. So maybe that is just kind of a temporary 2 steps back, 1 step forward. It's like you can't constantly make profound progress in your life forever in perpetuity, because we need to step back to assess, to rejuvenate, to rest, to, I want to say, account for some reason that's coming into my mind, to plant new seeds. So it's this, I'm up against this thing. Let's take a couple steps back and figure out what it is I want to plant seeds for, what it is that I want to grow in my life, coming back to a sense of self and holding space for self-love, nurturing the body, and to really nurture those seeds that I'm planting. There's a conscious awareness happening in when you take 2 steps back, so that you can move forward in a way that feels strong, rooted, and self-assured. So I feel like some of you are following this happiness and joy. Some of you are following this path, and there are some of you that are following this path, and are maybe some of these obstacles are those old distractions, those old triggers, those old people that are trying to pull you back into the old timeline, the old story. So all the more reason to take 2 steps back is to assess what's going on and to figure out how you want to react, how you want this thing to unfold, how you want to play this. And I'm not saying play a game, but play this particular hand, because I feel it's going to be a lot different than maybe what you did 15 or 19 years ago. And you're going to see the growth that has happened, the foundation that you've built for yourself. And also, we have the Fool card as well under the bottom of this. New opportunity. There's a significant direction, new direction that's happening here. And you are closing the door on the old and starting to take calculated risks, maybe even big risks that you never really saw yourself taking. But now that you're here, up against whatever it is that you're up against, it's like you are opening yourself up to the possibilities that are available in this universal story. And this is also a feeling of moving with the flow in a way. Like if you come up against obstacles, it's not about pushing forward and forcing yourself to jump the chasm. It's assessing. It is really allowing yourself to, I want to say, build up energy, build up force, build up momentum to make that jump rather than plowing forward. So it's going with the flow and knowing when the right time is to take action. Timing has a lot to do with this as well. And again, talking about divine timing, certain things must come into place in order for things to unfold and to create sustainable changes within your life, or else you will get stuck in a particular place. Maybe you will get sucked back into a particular pattern or in a particular storyline that you no longer want to be in. So very imperative to be aware and conscious of what is happening right now, and a certain level of acceptance. Coming back to self when you can't see the change in the external world is to come back to those joys and that self-care. I always say that about rooting yourself down, grounding yourself. I'm noticing the trees in this Empress card. This is about getting to the root or the heart of the problem here. If there is a problem or if there is an obstacle and challenge, getting to the heart of the matter. And what is the heart of the matter in the situation that you're facing? And it's going to be different for everyone. But I feel once that is resolved, you can then jump the chasm and now have this firm foundation, having something reaffirmed, having something reestablished, soul reestablishment, heart reestablishment. And again, focusing on what is not needed, especially when we come up against these obstacles, and focusing instead with what is needed, especially relating to your foundation, your security, the things you want to plant for the future, and how you move about obstacles and challenges, how you face those, how you kind of sort through that. So let's get some more cards from Spirit. And I want to share this Nodalis. Is it Nodalis? It's a cross section of a shell, and there's chambers in this shell. I did. Okay, I'm being called back to a recent collective reading that I did. A recent pick a card reading. Actually, it was on my anniversary date on June the 9th on Sunday. If I remember, I will put it in the link at the top here or in the description box. But we talked about that shell and how the little creature inside, when it's too big for the chamber, it moves into the next one. And it closes the door behind it. And that's what it needs to, grow. And also protect itself from the shell's opening, is that it can close up the openings so that it can almost isolate itself in a way. Okay, so we got this. And I don't know why I said that, but somebody might need to hear that. We got this. And we've got the yin energy. So again, that receivership energy. This isn't a time to plow forward, to push, to force, to control. This is a time to remain flexible and to receive information, receive rejuvenation, or I want to say recalibration notes, to spend time and have experiences with people in your life. Take your foot off the gas and pull over to the side is what I'm hearing there. And remaining flexible, that is going to be important for you during a time where you're really craving change and feeling stuck and wanting to move forward. Get me out of here. It's not comfortable. I don't want to be faced with this obstacle and challenge. I don't want to feel stuck. I don't not want to have the answers. I just want to jump over the chasm and get it done and over with. So remember what the opening channeled message was about, which was this is purging, a purging process. Purging meaning you are removing things from your life that will no longer serve you moving forward. That could be thoughts, it could be emotions, it could be people, it could be places or situations. This is feeling like a sloughing off. And I know you feel like it is a never-ending story. It is never going to end. But the promise of this timekeeping piece, the sand in the jar, is that time will eventually run out. It looks like it's not moving. But if you take your eye off of it, it's kind of like a watch pot never boils. And when we are watching that kettle, it feels like it takes 5 hours for a kettle to boil. But when we take our eyes off it and we get distracted doing something else, it boils in like 30 seconds and we're rushing to the stove to turn it off. So it's almost like you have to take your eyes off the prize for a moment, take pause, take those 2 steps back to receive something. And there's your 2 steps back, number 2. This is a moment to receive. This is a moment to recuperate, rejuvenate, really enjoy your own company, maybe. Company with friends, company with people you really enjoy being with. Maybe not focusing on work or trying to build something or trying to force change. I feel like I'm repeating myself, so I'm going to move on from that. But again, yeah, being flexible, remaining firm, but remaining firm in where you're going, but not remaining firm in the timing of when to get there, how to get there, the actions of how you kind of see it all unfolding. This is about remaining flexible within that process and working with the ebbs and flows, the tides of that process, the tides of timing. So I will leave this out because I think it is relevant to our story here. So we have many cards on deck right now, which is unusual for me, but I do feel like the oracle cards are speaking pretty clearly. And there's that 19 again. We talked about 15 to 19 years, and 19 is that sun card. So having a little fun, being a little playful, maybe doing something a little bit different. I also get Hanged Man energy from that. So seeing things from a different perspective and trying to do things in a different way. Oh, we got 3. All right. Let's see what we have here. Okay. So Knight of Wands. Thank you, Spirit. Full disclosure, I recorded a this exact same collective reading about 5 hours ago, and it just wasn't hitting right. I did the entire thing. I spent 40 minutes on it. And for some reason, it just wasn't sitting right with me. The energy wasn't right. And when that happens, I always listen and I take a step back, which I feel is significant to this reading. I took a step back. I went out and did some gardening. I took my eyes off of what I was trying to do in that moment rather than force another reading right after and just get it done. And I'm coming back, and not only are the messages being a little more clear, I'm feeling spirit around me, which is why I'm stumbling on my words, because spirit likes to talk really fast, and then I talk really fast, and so some of the messages kind of get jumbled up, so I have to figure that out. But to me, it seems a lot more clear in this reading than the first one. The first one, I don't know, the energy was just off. But I will say that the Empress came through, and not only did the Star card come through, the 3 of Swords in reverse also came through in this exact same format, and the King of Wands was also at the bottom of the deck. So we are not far off. So I thank Spirit, because I think this message needed to come out, and this is my own confirmation that the message needs to be heard. So the Knight of Wands, I made mention in my previous video that the Knight of Wands in reverse, it's like you've lost motivation. It's like you've lost all sense of direction. I'm confused. I thought this would work out. I thought all of my efforts would pay off. I'm really passionate about this thing. I really want to do this. I really want to see movement. And I once did have the desire and the ambition and the will to master this, to get to the end, to be able to reap the rewards and feel fulfilled. But with the 10 of Cups here, you're losing motivation because something is not feeling fulfilling for you. I feel like you are maybe even heartbroken about this thing that is not really working out in your favor. This is it's not great energy. I almost get that it's I don't want to say forcing you, but it's pushing you into a corner so that you can see something, so that you can, I feel like it has to do with this firm foundation. And I think this is the obstacle. It's like, holy cow, I have put in a significant amount of time, energy, effort, maybe even money towards this thing that I thought would bring me fulfillment. And would you look at that? It has not. It's only given me grief and strife and confusion, tension, maybe even stress, but definitely far from fulfillment. There may have been glimpses of fulfillment. This may even be a really big goal for you that you thought, I thought this was going to happen, but you're slowly starting to lose motivation. You're slowly starting to lose faith, if you haven't already. And so with the Star in reverse, that is the challenge here, is to root down into your own confidence, your own faith in what you can achieve eventually. I feel like there are some manifestors in this room, and there is a struggle happening where it's like, if I don't feel it and I don't see it, then it's not successful or it's not for me. And that significantly impacts how you feel about yourself, that significantly impacts your desire to continue. But I feel in this moment, this lack of fulfillment, or maybe even being disappointed in yourself, maybe even having some feelings of shame or overwhelm. I think this is helping you heal in some way, because we do have another card of expansion, another 3 here, expansion and growth, which is what 3s are all about. Sometimes they are beautiful. You plant a seed, you nurture it, you have patience and watch it grow. Whereas the 3 of Swords is a bit more painful, in the sense where things from the outside may be impacting how we think about ourselves, how we think about the situation, how we think about other people, and our thoughts can really have a significant impact on our behaviors and actions. Thoughts become things. So when we're healing from heartbreak, for example, we are moving through a very difficult process of letting go. Maybe that's what this purging is that you are letting go of maybe the dream that you had. But I'm hearing spirit and you won't give up on that dream. It's just the way to get there is different than you think. So you're losing motivation, you're feeling unfulfilled, and like you have no more faith that this is ever going to happen. What's the point? That's a very heartbreaking thing, to come to some kind of reality in your mind that this isn't going to happen. So how do we get beyond that? It is about seeing things in a different way. This hanged man, or what looks to be a hanged man, it's not only doing things in a different way, but it's being flexible with the timing. Being flexible with the process. Just because you haven't achieved it now doesn't mean you won't, and never will. So it's about reigniting. I feel like this is a reignition period of that desire, of that dream, and working through these feelings of lack. Working through these feelings of coming to some kind of truth or reality that is illusionary. Fighting the darkness with the light. That is also what the star is about. They are the light in the dark. The dark cannot dampen the star. The star shines in the dark, and it shines the brightest in the dark. So I feel like, coming back to this fertility, that is your wish, that is your dream, that is your hope. Hanging on to it and continue to hold space for it, even though you haven't seen it come to pass yet. So these are all in reverse, which means there's a significant blockage to you moving forward. Could be because there is some things that you need to receive. I think it has to do with rebuilding your foundation. Some kind of foundation. I think it's an internal or spiritual, soulful foundation here. Emotional foundation. And again, I don't feel like it's going to be easy, because I think there's something deep down within that needs healing. Could have something to do with this yin energy, of this receiving energy. Do you feel capable and worthy of receiving the dream? Are you self-sabotaging? Are you willing to work through the difficulties, not just the external obstacles and challenges of, okay, I'm building a business, so I need to jump through all of these hoops to open it, to get it started, to deal with whatever challenges along that way, but what happens internal? I feel like this is almost a reflection back on you and how you are managing these obstacles and challenges, how you are holding yourself in these moments. Are you going to see these challenges and obstacles as proof that you shouldn't continue and lose this motivation and hope in something that you've dreamed? Are you going to succumb to the overwhelm of emotion that comes with potentially not feeling fulfilled in this process and not feeling fulfilled with where you're going? Maybe some of the stuck energy that you're feeling. Or are you going to simply pull off to the side of the road, take some breaths, and see what you see? This goal doesn't have to be done tomorrow. We can take our time, and I think It's going to take time. Still, yes, still. But it's step by step. I'm just noticing 2, 3, 4, 5, or 5, 4, 3, 2. So it's like when you come up against this obstacle and challenge, to find your foundation again, find your purpose, your reason, the root cause. Again, because this is earth energy, it's about rooting yourself down and figuring out the heart of the issue, figuring out the heart of the matter. And then coming back to holding space for planting seeds to continue on to the journey. And then receive whatever information, taking a step back or 2 steps back to receive information, care, take your time, assess, grieve, and process that it may not have worked out now, and it may not work out tomorrow or next week or next month. But so long as you continue to root down within yourself, within what it is your heart wants, and continue to take action and steps towards that. The actions and steps I feel are going to be different. It's going to, especially if you keep coming up against the same challenge. Question would be why? Are you doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results? Can you do something different? Can you see things from a different perspective? Can you take pause and figure out what is it that's causing you to come up against the same obstacle? Is there a fear? Is there a limiting belief? Is there something that needs to be healed? Are you moving towards the thing that actually makes you feel fulfilled and happy? Or is this something that you expected or feel like you should because you have? And so I have to keep going in the same way. I'll give you an example and feel free to skip forward a minute. But this reminds me of when I decided to move from a product-based business to a service-based business. Scariest decision I ever made. And it took me over a year to make the decision, even though that I had hints of it not working for me. But I kept plowing forward. Let's try this up. Let's hire this coach. Let's sign on to this forum or this website and see if we can do things differently. I tried everything. I kept coming up against the same wall. And that wall for me was burnout and just not being able to find a way to relieve that. I still kept coming back to that. And I have a link in the description box to a blog post that talks about that. So I had to really I had to take those 2 steps back. I had to stop pushing forward. I had to take my foot off the gas and pull over to the side of the road and ask myself, is this business something that fits and suits me? Something I desire to do? Something that I'm passionate about? Am I passionate about the products I'm selling? Am I passionate about everything that I do within the business? Sadly, the answer was no. 80% of my business, I love the customers. I loved fulfilling orders and having that one-on-one connection with customers. I loved the design. I did not like anything else. And because so much of my business was rooted in something that I did not desire to do, I did not wish to continue with, my soul and my spirit through burnout was telling me to stop and explore the possibilities of what else there is. What other kind of business could I have? And I kind of really wasn't liking the answer. So I put off that decision for a very long time. Because I didn't have a plan B. It was just, this is what I'm doing, so I'm going to push in that direction, the end. And with that, I also didn't really have a destination. I just knew that this was going to be perpetual, and the thought of that exhausted me. So I had to really take my time to make this decision. And I have to say already, I'm feeling better. Even though I'm not completely out of the product-based business, it's still going to be around, but I'm slowly pulling back and I'm refocusing my efforts on a service-based business of freelance illustration and graphic design, as well as tarot readings. So that feels better. I feel so much better. I don't know what it's going to look like, and I so far haven't come up against any, knock on wood, any significant burnout obstacles or any challenges that I feel like I cannot face. So I get that same feeling here, is that in that moment, for me at least, I had to be, especially when I came to making that decision, I had to be really flexible with the information I was receiving and the process in which that I got there, and also what business success looked like. I had my roots in a business that wasn't really for me. I also had my roots in a business, in an idea of what I thought it should be based on maybe some other peers that I was following and what it should look like. Even though I felt really misaligned, and it was just a bit of an effort for me to think about doing all those things. So being flexible with the result, being flexible with the outcome, and radical acceptance of what my soul really wanted, even though maybe logically it didn't quite make sense to me. But as soon as I started moving in that new direction and allowed that redirection to happen, I'm already starting to see glimmers of hope and success again. I'm already starting to get my motivation back. I have grieved my business because it wasn't for me. And I had to go through those motions of, I thought it was fulfilling and it's not really for me, so let's plant some new seeds on what I think will be for me. And that doesn't mean to say that in 5 or 10 years I might not change my mind. Our goals and destinations don't have to be final. We can always change our mind and do something different if at any point we feel differently. We grow, we change, we adapt, we move. It's okay. So again, all the more reason to stay flexible, because I think you've grown so much in the last 20 years. All the more reason to be flexible with where you're going next. Something that we planted 20 years ago is going to be different than what we want to plant now. So allow things to change, allow things to move, allow things to ebb and flow, and allow yourself to prepare for what is next. So I want to get 2 cards. I'm going to get a card from this deck and a card from another deck and see where we're at to close the reading. So Spirit, what can they do? Advice. I'm going to get that one because it was feeling strong. Look at that. Plant the seeds. You're in this moment of planting seeds. Planting new seeds. This feels very page energy of intentions. Having new intentions. Taking a new direction. Allow yourself to be redirected, to be flexible, to have fun. One more advice card, and then we'll get 2 more from another deck. Look at this, transformation and change. So yeah, I mean, this just confirms everything that we talked about, so I don't think I need to belabor the point. But you are moving through a significant transformation and change in your life. It might be taking some time because the channeled message in the beginning did speak to this being a slow, gradual transition. So it's not going to be a tower moment where everything changes in a day, a week, a month. It's going to be gradual. And so that is why you're not seeing things change in the way that you want, because the shifts that are happening possibly within you and externally are so subtle that you can only see that type of change over a number of years. You look back in 5 years, you're going to see the changes that were happening in this moment. Because again, coming back to it, you're not going from just with the opening cards. You're doing 2 steps forward, at least in this moment. I don't want to say forever, but at least in this moment, you're taking a step forward and having to take 2 steps back so that you can take a new step forward that is a little more grounded in your own truth, your own reality, within your soul's path. And so that's why it's taking so long. And it is like planting a seed. The seeds take a long time. Sometimes certain seeds, like garlic, have to, what do they call it, overwinter? They have to go through a season or 2 before they actually start sprouting. That is part of their process. So I want you to have faith that you are exactly where you need to be, and things are working out in divine timing. It might not be your timing, I get it. It's very frustrating, but it is working out in divine order. Certain things need to fall into place in the external world with other people in order for you to see changes in whatever changes that you're looking for right now. So the only thing that you can really, I feel like the focus is on self. The focus is on continuing with this transformation and change. Don't stop because you're coming up against obstacles. Allow those obstacles to be there. Allow those challenges to be there. Check in with yourself to make sure that you're continuing to renew your hope, your faith, your motivation in whichever way that suits you best. And I'll give you an art analogy because I'm constantly coming up against this particular, it's a creative block essentially. You are creating something, you're working on a project, you have a lot of motivation at the beginning, but then you hit a wall and you don't know what else to do. And so you force and you try to push through because I got to get this done. Maybe you're on a deadline and you push and you force and you stay in the state of block. And so there's this manifestation energy happening where I'm blocked, I can't move forward, I'm stuck. And so that's something that continues to perpetuate. Whereas if you maybe do something else for a time, which is what I do. I take a day or two off from that thing that I'm trying to achieve, and then I come back to it with fresh eyes. Or I wait until a spark of motivation hits, and I simply just observe. I simply take care of what else I need to take care of. What else I can maybe bring some awareness or control to. Maybe I have a little bit of fun. Maybe I explore a new way of doing something. It's kind of like breaking yourself out of that by not doing it. It's kind of counterintuitive, but that's kind of what the feeling that I'm getting here. And I'm being really verbose now, so I'm going to I'm going to choose the last couple of cards, and then we will end your reading. Okay. Voyage of the Heart. And that's what I feel this is right now. The voyage of the heart for expansion. And that doesn't necessarily mean for a specific relationship or a person. I think this is all you. And maybe eventually that will expand into an external relationship with somebody else or a stronger relationship. But this is, again, that word flow is coming to mind. When we talk about that yin energy, when we talked about in the channeled message of go with the flow, this is a voyage of maybe healing the heart, maybe looking into or observing what your heart really wants. Ah, look at this. Did I not just say that? I don't know. I can't remember what I said 2 seconds ago. But discovering the truth, I think you're coming into some kind of truth here. So all the more reason to step back, observe, and figure out what kind of messages that you are receiving in this moment. Observe yourself. Observe your reactions, your feelings, your thoughts. Take a pause. Because with this one, you see this person kind of going off in a new direction, whereas these two people are like, yeah, okay, let's go over here. And this feels like a very planned out path. We can see what's ahead. We can see all of the obstacles, all of the hills, all of the things that the landscape offers. But there's a new adventurous direction that this person is taking that is more aligned with their truth. And they're not asking anybody for an opinion, advice, or approval. They are just seeking this out on their own and having an unwavering confidence in themselves, in their direction, in the thing that they want to achieve. And knowing that whatever obstacles or challenges they come up against, they will overcome them. And I just looked at the bottom of the deck out of curiosity. We got an impasse. Reflect and redirect your energy. So more confirming messages here from Spirit. This one doesn't really make too much sense to me at the moment, so I'll stop just at that bottom of the deck there. Sometimes we can get 4 or 5 cards in. But yeah, I think you're at some kind of impasse, so it's time to reflect. Again, come back to self. Look at maybe why you're coming up against this obstacle or challenge, or what you think this obstacle and challenge means and why. What can you do to change it? What can you do to adjust your actions, adjust your reactions, adjust the way you see things, become more flexible, and redirect that energy somewhere else for a time rather than moving towards this wall, because at the moment, nothing, you can't surpass this. So whether that's divine timing, whether that's not for you, whether spirit wants to redirect you for one reason or another, there is definitely a blockage here. But that doesn't mean you can't stop having faith, because you can plant new seeds, you can continue on. It's just a matter of perception. It's a matter of letting go and surrendering. And again, surrender doesn't mean to give up. Surrender just means to let go and to give in to what's happening at this moment. That doesn't mean we can't start again. That doesn't mean we can't ever continue on. But I think Spirit is really getting you to look at the truth of something, getting you to uncover something. There's something to discover or explore in this moment that will help you continue on shortly after this. Once the gates have opened, once the walls have been removed, the challenges have been overcome, divine timing comes into play, whatever's going on, whatever you attain in this moment will help you on your path forward. So don't bypass it, don't ignore it, try to appreciate it for what it is, and plant new seeds for what you want. And hopefully this too shall pass, which it always tends to do. So this is what I have for you, my dear collective. I hope you found some clarity and guidance today. With gratitude, I'm sending you all my love, and we'll see you in your next reading.